All right, we're live.
Eh?
We're live. We don't have the overlay or anything because I need to get a new mic first. Then I'll do that.
Oh my god, Chaz.
I know,
Sat on
I
my
know.
Stream
gun.
canceled.
Dude, I'm
Stream
trying.
canceled. Gonna
I'm
go return the
trying.
game. Alright, I'm
Trading
gonna.
my
If I'm
PlayStation
streaming
tomorrow.
by myself, like if it's just
Oh,
like a chill
shoot.
stream and it's just
I
me,
put it-
then I can do it that way. But I can't do it. I can't do it with the whole party because the sound loops, and I can't figure out why.
I put it
So-
on my personal Instagram again. Whoops!
Way to go, idiot.
And I haven't posted in a very long time, so people are like, oh, cool, he posted. Click on it.
Oh, cool. Unfollow.
Oh, Darth Malgus. Oh, very cool.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. You guys.
Link in.
There are
bio.
so many things that have
Fire
happened in Star Wars. I'm very excited. Very excited.
Well, I'm glad you're excited, Chaz. That's all
I'm
that
super
matters.
stoked.
Super yoked.
Super stoked.
Alright. Wait for it. Oh, whoa.
I'm in.
Wait for it. Wow, you lost like 6 followers.
Whoa!
What
You probably
happened?
watched our last stream.
Yeah, we lost.
Our fantasy
I think
football
we
advice.
went down like one sub on
On YouTube?
yeah, on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. Alright, cancel the giveaway.
Hey man, if we can get there, then I'll give away the $20. It's like we just gotta get there though. I should probably jump. Huh?
Alright. I'm in there like somewhere. I'm ready. The Zelda's been dropped.
I'll join up with you guys. Oh man, so what's happened since last time? The last time we talked, did Force Friday already happen, or was it going to happen?
It was
It
right
already
before.
happened.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Maybe it
Because I couldn't
It already
remember.
happened.
God, you're so stupid.
Hey. That wasn't very nice.
And then Vanity Fair put out those pictures, and
Ooh.
You're breaking up,
Uh,
homie.
No. Why are you breaking up with me?
Why do that? Chaz?
yeah, I'm still here.
Jazz.
Can you guys hear me?
Chaz?
Hello,
Yeah, we can hear you.
hello.
Chaz?
Oh,
I can
God.
hear you, Chaz.
Oh dear.
Jared, who are you talking to?
I'm sorry. My mic is
Well, it's
my
not
mic is
you.
garbage. I need a new mic. Yeah. So hi.
Yeah, we had knocked about. We had not. Oh my god.
We had knocked it.
We had not had Force Friday yet when we chatted last.
Sweet. Yeah. So we
We
didn't
were
have
prepared
Force
for
Friday.
it, and we were under the impression we were going to get a trailer, and I'm still amazed that we did not.
Right. So that was where we last left off last time we
We almost
talked.
guaranteed it.
I
Guaranteed.
guarantee it.
There was a trailer. It was the Rebels season 4
No,
trailer.
a real trailer.
But we didn't get a trailer for. Oh man, come on.
Shots fired.
That's rough, dude. That's rough.
I hate the Rebels trailers because it's not even a trailer. It's like a 5-minute clip of every episode. It's not like a.
What are
I
they
don't know.
supposed to put up for a trailer?
I don't care. Just don't. I feel like the trailers for Rebels have spoilers.
Chopper montage.
What are the clips from the movie? Are they not clips from the movie? Like when they do the trailers for the movie.
I think he got him.
I'm
I
just
think
like,
he wanted a chopper montage. That's what he wanted.
like a montage of just random
Jeez, I'm back.
footage.
Can you hear me?
No, I
thought
couldn't
you were
hear you. I
just
thought
like,
I was like,
Kylie turned on my other controller so that all the sound was coming through the surround sound speakers. And
Ah,
you
put
guys were
Carly on.
screaming. Special guest, Pinkerton. No, I think that they should, if they're gonna do trailers for TV shows, just like a movie, you can show little segments, but I just feel like they show story elements. Like this big storyline is gonna happen this season. This big storyline is gonna happen, and if I cared more about Rebels, I might be a little disappointed. I don't mind, but if it were a show that I was like really invested in.
Oh, you don't care, so your opinion doesn't really matter.
That's true. I mean, even though Big care, he really values it. But no, I think that if it were a show that I really cared about, that I would be disappointed.
Huh. Interesting. I wasn't disappointed in it. I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent.
Oh, it was cool.
I thought the wolves were cool. I've been keeping up with Star Wars Rebels, so it'll be interesting to see how it ends. Seeing Tarkin drop
the
a couple
Mandalorians were pretty cool.
Yeah, like it looked like the Empire was like stomping out like the last of the Mandalorians type situation was going on, and then yeah, I don't know. It looked cool. I really liked it, but I enjoy Star Wars Rebels, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think it didn't look cool. I just think that it gave away too much.
It did give away. Well, there's still a lot that we don't know. Like, we don't know what happens to Ahsoka indefinitely. We don't know, like, how, like, if it's gonna end with. Because they mentioned, like, Tarkin mentioned Project Stardust, which he's in charge of, which is, you know,
yeah, no, there was
a
lot
shout
of
out to Rogue One.
Yeah.
So we don't know if it's going to end like where Rogue One started, or I don't know. I don't know. I like it though.
Oh, why did I spawn on you? I almost fell off the map. No, I did enjoy the trailer. I was just, like, balls to the wall ready for a Last Jedi trailer. So the fact that we didn't get one was, like I said, beyond amazing to me. And then, on top of that, like I said, I just felt like there was a lot of story elements revealed in the Rebels trailer that didn't necessarily need to be revealed. But regardless, I am excited for the new season. This will be the first season that I watch in real time as opposed to after it actually airs. And I'm excited for that. But it was cool. There was a lot of cool moments, especially little Star Wars references. Like we said, a lot of these little, not even Easter eggs, blatant Rogue One references, and that's exciting. It'll be cool. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I just want Last Jedi.
Yeah, me too. And I think it actually made more sense that they like did the Rebels trailer when on like Force Friday or that weekend, because you know toys are for kids, even though we go buy them.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I have that written down as a point.
Yeah, like we go buy them, and you know it's great for us, but toys are for kids, so it's, you know, it made more sense to drop. Yeah, tricks are for kids. Trick love the kids. But yeah, it makes more sense for them to drop a Rebels trailer during Force Friday, because it's a kid show, and so it, you know, seems to coincide a little bit more. So yeah, it made more sense. However, like I said the same. I'm a little just disappointed because I could have swore we would have gotten one. And then
or maybe Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football will get one. Maybe.
Well, it's just weird because like I don't even know. Every time I'm like, this has to be the last time that they could release a trailer and have it make sense. It passes without a mention. Like we have the 100 days out to Last Jedi. What was that, yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, that was I think that was yesterday.
And that's gonzo now. So like Jared said, maybe football, but it won't. That would be a TV teaser. And we already discussed this, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. But they will do TV teasers. I think that goes without saying. I'm talking about like a 2.5-minute trailer, and they probably won't do that during football. So
yeah,
I just don't know what else they're gonna do.
I was gonna say it might have been that
Thor, but that's way too.
That's in November.
Right.
That's in November, and this other movie Coco is also in November. The Disney movie that's coming out.
Coco's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. But that's the only other thing I was thinking. And it didn't work out very well, so that was pretty disappointing.
I'm just gonna assume we're not gonna get one, and be really pleasantly surprised when we do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the last. That's the only way I can not be stressed out about it. I think.
Yeah, I just
Jared
don't.
and I will break into Skywalker
I think
Ranch
maybe in
on Wednesday,
October.
in California.
I think
Dude,
in
good shot.
October we'll get one. Because last time we didn't get a second trailer, or I think it was either the first or second trailer. Yeah, it was the second trailer. The second Force Awakens
Yes, we
until
did.
not until October.
No, we did. We got the teaser trailer a full year before the movie, which this year we did not. We got the teaser in April,
Right.
and then we got a real trailer in like March or April, and then we got a second real trailer in
Oh, that's what I'm thinking
like
of.
August or September or something. But
Maybe
we
that's
had like
what I'm
3 or
thinking.
4 actual full-length
I don't know,
trailers
man.
for Force Awakens.
I just keep thinking, like, the more we don't have one, the more I'm like, alright, it's kind of cool. Like, we keep saying, like, it'd be better not
agree
to
with
see
that.
more stuff. But then it's like, well, where's the trailer? Like, it's like, I
Well,
know
it's
you're
like,
going to
Disney,
drop
what are you
one.
doing?
Yeah, it's like,
that
I know
part
you're going to
doesn't
have
make
one.
sense to me. But I agree with you that like the part of me that wants it pure is kind of stoked. But on the other hand, if we're gonna get one, I'd rather just have it now. And I think it's inevitable that we're going to get one. So I don't need to wait if we're definitely going to. And I think we are definitely going to. But regardless, I'll be like I said, I'll be excited when and if it happens. And until that day, I will be just as excited as I have been without having one.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what winds up happening as far as when we get the trailer and what it happens to line up with. We'll see what that is.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be during some event. They're just not gonna be like, oh, here's your trailer. Like,
Yeah, I mean, at this point they might though, because they're just being weird. So that wouldn't be totally
yeah, maybe.
like abnormal. You know what I mean? And maybe they want to see how many hits it gets on the internet without having a big movie to attach to it or something. That might be the case. It's just
Yeah.
weird in general. I'm done predicting what might happen because it's been so weird, and I've been so unbelievably wrong leading up to this point that
Yeah.
I don't really have an interest in
And
continuing
I
it.
could have swore we were right about Force Friday and getting a trailer
Force
then.
Friday, and we had the Disney days, and we had the Star Wars, then we had Comic-Con, and even
Yeah.
though they said they weren't doing the Comic-Con, there were just so many opportunities where it was like, okay, it's got to be something.
And
At
the
this
thing
point,
is that they put
whatever.
out content at each one of those events. It's just not The
It's
Last
just not
Jedi.
Last Jedi. Other than
You know.
behind the scenes video, which was really cool. I
That
just,
was really cool, and I think maybe we are taking that a little bit for granted because it was a lot, but it just
no,
wasn't
absolutely. That
a
was
trailer.
like we said when it came out. It was as much as a trailer would show you without giving you the feels that a trailer would give you. I mean,
Yeah.
it gave you feels because of Carrie Fisher, but it wasn't like, oh my God, giddiness type feels. So
Yeah.
I think that they probably consider that their second trailer.
Yeah,
on, like, the
maybe that
calendar.
is what. Maybe that's what they're considering it. Maybe they're thinking like, oh, that's enough.
They're losing you.
You're breaking up.
Am I still here? I'm sorry, guys. I will get a new microphone. Also, I was trying to type in a new thingy on our channel. Sorry. But yeah. So I don't know. I think we might get one in October-ish. I feel like November's too soon. I mean, too close to
Too
the
late.
movie.
Yeah.
Too late. Yeah, like too close to the
I
movie
agree
is what
with
I
that.
mean to say. Like, so I feel like it's gonna be sometime in October. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, like I said, whenever.
yeah,
It doesn't matter at this point. I'll watch
Yeah.
it when it happens.
yeah.
Like when they tweeted us, like I tweeted out saying like I would just stay away. I thought they were gonna release something really soon to that.
Right, you're
They
right.
made it
I
seem
thought
like
that
it was
was them
coming.
saying,
I
guys,
was like,
don't
oh,
watch
cool.
it. Right.
Yeah, I thought it was
and then-
coming out
Yeah.
like the next day, and then
Yeah, that was a great pump fake.
yeah, it really got me a bit.
The toys were cool, and I guess there's been
Yeah.
some conversation about like some of the toys that talk. They're like, this is the dialogue from Last Jedi, but it's only because we're so thirsty. Like we were saying last week, anything is like
Yeah.
everyone jumps on it like
Well,
like
I'm gonna
leeches.
say that the only toy that seemed to give anything away was the Kylo Ren like toy.
Guard
I think
toy?
yeah, and it like said a bunch of different lines of his, and some of them seem to be like definitely like suggestive towards like a new I don't know, towards like him and Snoke having some sort of weird deal. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to give too much away because like if you guys haven't heard like what the toy says, I don't want to spoil anything.
I actually haven't intentionally. Sometimes I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, he
I read
says
an
a
article
couple
on it and
lines.
it.
Yeah, he says a couple lines that seem suggestive. So, yeah. Either way, like if you guys want to go pursue that, then definitely go check it out. But if you want to avoid it, I'm not gonna talk about it. But yeah, speaking of the toys on Force Friday, Force Friday was
sweet toys.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was really awesome. I had a good time going shopping, and like just talking to people while I was out in the stores was really cool. It's always fun meeting new Star Wars nerds in the wild. So that was cool.
Did you catch them?
Yeah, I gotta catch them all. But yeah, speaking of catching them all, actually, there was a really cool AR game that you could play along with shopping, and it was. I'm sorry, am I breaking up, guys? Or can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
A little bit.
Okay, sorry.
Just a little.
Sorry. But yeah, there was a on the Star Wars app, there was an AR game that you could play, and when you went to the store, characters pop up, and it was pretty neat. I did my phone wouldn't work in every store because I went to like Target and Toys and I think I went to Walmart too, and my phone would only work I think at Target. Other than that, like I couldn't get service or enough service to play the game because it took up a lot of data. So, yeah, it was frustrating. But either way, it was really fun. It was a good time playing the game while I was going to look for stuff. Because even though I didn't buy everything, I still wanted to like see everything. So
What was
that
your,
that
what
made
was
it
your
really.
favorite toy?
That oh man, that's really tough because I had a lot of favorites.
Yeah.
Give us your top 3.
Oh man, top toy was the helmet for
The
sure.
Poe Dameron helmet?
Yeah, the Poe Dameron helmet
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
top toy. That one was amazing, and then
Top 2.
my number 2 was definitely BB-9E.
Number 2.
Even though I feel like that one's a little bit cheap because we've seen like BB-8 before, so it's like we kind of knew what to expect with the BB-9E droid, but I still really liked it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Plus the eyes light up and stuff.
R2-D2 was really dope. Because I didn't even know they were making that.
You're breaking up, my friend.
Ah.
Yeah, the Sphero R2 is awesome. Because I have the BB-8 and it's really cool. But I didn't even know they were making an R2. So that was pretty cool to see. And then, like you said, the Poe Dameron helmet was awesome. I really liked the Porg, the little soft, plushy animatronic Porg. Those were really cool. And then I was telling Jared about it on our Sunday stream, our casual stream, but I really like now how you can get a big pack of action figures that comes with like 6 or 7 guys. And then, I mean, it's like $50, but they had those and it was like Kylo and the Stormtrooper and Rey and BB-8 and Poe all in this one giant box set, and it was so sick. So I really like those things too. I didn't get any of the Star Wars stuff on Force Friday, unfortunately, but some of the toys made me very excited for when Rivers is old enough to enjoy them, and made me very nostalgic for when I would have been not frowned upon for enjoying them.
I got a stormtrooper, and
I saw you got a Thrawn, right?
a Black Series. Yeah, I got a Black Series Stormtrooper. I got the Black Series Thrawn, which was really awesome because I really am enjoying the book right now.
Thrawn's a cool character even in the old extended universe. He's
Yeah,
pretty sick.
yeah. It's he's really awesome, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see him back in the Star Wars canon again. So that's awesome. And then I got I think it was I got the Clone Troopers. The one who's
Yeah,
in
Twi'lek too, right?
yeah, and that was Hera Syndulla from
Gotcha.
from Rebels. So yeah, she's pretty cool too. Yeah, and they're all really decent toys. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Oh man, I just got choked out by Vader. It was a lot of fun being there. So yeah, I love Star Wars events like that. Like I said, mostly because you meet people and
Yeah, it brings people together.
yeah, it's like
It's like Pokemon Go at its best. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon Go as an app, but as bringing people with similar interests together, it's kind of the best thing we've had in a long time. So that's pretty cool.
Except
And
I'm all alone now.
right, except for you. But that's what, like you said, that's what's cool about Force Friday. Even I was just walking around Target for other reasons, just for shopping reasons, and I just happened to walk by the toy section, and there's people, dressed up and stuff. It was just pretty cool, and it's exciting to see. Like, when we were kids, Star Wars was the nerdy thing to like. Like, it was uncool to like it, and now it's neat to see some of our contemporaries and people who we probably would have been good friends with when we were younger if we had this sort of opportunity to meet them. So it's pretty cool to get to see them in real life, and also like talk up the stream. I talked a lot about talking Sith on Force Friday, so it's pretty cool
I did too.
to get our name out there and mention ourselves, and also just talk Star Wars. I mean, we do that every week minimum, but it's nice to do it with people who like you said, who you wouldn't have met otherwise. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, all in all, it was a pretty good time. It made the weekend fly right by, which was also kind of nice because I was like, very, tuned into Star Wars all weekend, and like kind of looking for every detail because I was also still waiting on the trailer at the time.
Right.
So
yeah, I
I
was Googling every 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was doing very much of the same. So I was kind of all over the internet that day. So it was nice.
It's funny because I have like alerts set up, but I don't trust my new phone to actually alert me, so I still just Google all the time. My phone's like, I'll tell you, you don't have to ask. But I still.
I don't trust you. I don't trust you to tell me the truth, robot. Yeah. So it was Force Friday. Like I said, I had a lot of favorites. Let us know on Twitter or Instagram or however what your favorites were. Just really quick, I just want to give a shout out to anybody who's like watching or checking it out tonight. I am keeping a somewhat of an eye on the chat, not as much as I have. Can you guys hear me okay, or am I breaking up?
Yeah, you're good.
You're fine right now.
Okay, yeah, sorry. My mic is so iffy tonight that I'm like, I never know what's going on. But yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the chat. I haven't really been responding a ton just because we just I want to try to get through everything we plan to talk about tonight. So, but just real quick shout out, thanks John Darth Vader for jumping in. Thanks Lightning Bolt for jumping in. Thanks Death Trooper for jumping in. We really appreciate it. Thanks for the compliments. We appreciate you guys coming by. 100 subs, and we'll give away a $20 card to PSN, Xbox Live, or Steam. And yeah, but tonight, it's evening now. Tonight, we're talking about Star Wars like we always do, and over the weekend, we had Force Friday, as well as a lot of cool new pictures from Vanity Fair come out. and we got to check those out too. Those were pretty sweet. We're seeing a lot, and I don't know if maybe you guys feel this way too. I feel like the promotional material is very, very, and I mean, obvious. Maybe this is obvious, and I'm just being dumb, but it seems very, very centered on Luke and Rey. As of
that's
late.
intentional.
I knew you were
for
gonna
sure.
say that.
I think that's easily not only probably the biggest storyline of Last Jedi, but also what everybody wants. You know, what everybody's the most thirsty for.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. I think I don't know. It's gonna be awesome to see Luke, but seeing Kylo and Snoke train will also be awesome too.
Yeah. Seeing Rey's development, Kylo's development, and Finn's development is obviously what everyone. I mean, it's obviously what we're going to see a lot of. It's just the next step in their story. So if it's anything like the original trilogy, and we've talked about it, but Star Wars is pretty traditional.
Yeah.
You know, this is where they get fleshed out not only as characters but also as developed skill wise. So that'll be pretty fun. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the photo shoots and even the social media stuff is a lot of it's Mark Hamill. I feel like maybe that's because he's the one I follow mostly. But
and he's kind of the spokesman.
Right, he's got a lot of clout right now, so that's kind of cool. And it's interesting too because I think by comparison, everybody else is relatively quiet. Obviously, Harrison Ford's pretty quiet in general on social media, but even like with Oscar Isaac, he was a little bit more vocal leading up to Force Awakens, I feel like. Even John Boyega has done so much other than Star Wars this summer, but he's been pretty quiet too. So, and Daisy Ridley has been on social media for a while. So I don't know. I think that Mark Hamill happens to be the most vocal, and also, like we said, Rey is going to be such a big part of Last Jedi and probably her parentage and everything that I'm sure everything about it is intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Last Jedi is going really well as far as marketing goes. They're doing a really good job of keeping everything the way they wanted to keep it.
Right.
Which is great and commendable in the day and age of leaks and all that good stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's part of why we're so thirsty, because we haven't had anything even illicit happen. So I think that's probably got a lot to do with it, because we haven't had that in a long time. Force Awakens had so much more, video marketing leading up to it than Last Jedi has, but it also had a few minor, but a few leaks, and this has zero. So especially in comparison to some of the other stuff they're currently doing, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. I'm sure that Mark Hamill is stoked about it.
Yeah. I definitely think he seems really stoked about it, for sure. Just off of, like you said, I follow all of them on social media. John Boyega's pretty, active on social media. In fact, just recently he's had himself a little tiny bit of a scandal with social media.
I don't even know. That wasn't even really a big deal.
It wasn't even that big of a deal. It was just funny because he's, he's a star. He's like the new, poster boy for Star Wars, and they were like, "Oh my God!" And he was doing a little dance that he was doing a little dance that some deemed unheroic, like, I guess. And so, but if you know anything about Caribbean culture and things like that, then you would know that, like, what he was doing wasn't, like, degrading at all.
Or just being a normal person.
Yeah, or just being like a normal guy.
Yeah, he's not married and she's not 16, so
exactly.
I don't know.
It wasn't even that bad. Like,
in fact, I would say, like, it's actually more oppressing to say like this single woman can't do what she wants.
Right, and him
too. Than to just like be okay with it.
Spokesperson at this point, and he's expected to represent the brand, not just himself personally.
That's true.
But at the same time, Disney, at least to my knowledge, hasn't come out against anything that he's been doing.
No, they haven't.
It's been people who have been idiots. So, so I think it's
honestly, like,
imagine that.
Yeah, imagine
Probably
that.
the same crosshair.
Honestly, like maybe this makes me like gross or something, but I kind of like him a little bit more because of it. So I don't know.
I just think that it's nice to see him have like a
Like, be
real life,
normal,
'cause
yeah,
we
like, just be
that's
normal
part
and
of
cool.
The day and age we live in, that we get to see so much of their personal interactions, and John Boyega came out of nowhere, so we don't know his personality that well, other than his reaction video to the Force Awakens trailer.
Just
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that you know, his life under a microscope. I know, like, a lot of times when it's a relatively unknown star going to such big fame so quickly, it can be
Yeah.
a little bit of a learning curve. I know with like the Harry Potter actors, it was really uncomfortable for a while, and and little things like that that can happen. And they're not coming up like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill did in the '70s when none of this would have ever mattered. So
That's true.
yeah, I think that he's probably not stoked about the backlash about it, but I'm sure that he doesn't regret the actual.
He handled it pretty
so.
good. He diffused it. He's like, I think
He
just
handled
said,
it
like,
really well, yeah.
He's like, I don't really care what you guys think. It wasn't bad. It's like,
Yeah,
alright.
exactly. He was like, I was
Which
just
is
dancing,
about
so
as
it's no
honest
big
as
deal.
you can be without you know, being.
If he
too
like put out
jerk.
like an
he could've been
apology for it and been like weird about it, like, oh, I'm so sorry, like this, then it would have made the act bad. But
Weird.
because he was just
Right.
but because he's like, oh,
or
it's not
he
a big
could have
deal.
been a total jerk about it and been like, you know, you guys need to stop, or
Yeah, I mean,
you know, really vulgar or crass. And
Yeah.
it seems like he handled it pretty much all the way round the right
I saw
way.
people were freaking out about it, so I looked it up and I was like, that's it. That's all I
Yeah.
got.
And I think that
I thought
the unfortunate state of the world right now, especially this country, is that the most vitriolic people just happen to be the loudest as well. So they're the
Yeah.
people that get the attention on the internet. And,
Yeah,
he
that's very
probably
true.
recognizes that better than most, because he went through a lot when Force Awakens trailers come out. I mean, all the Black Stormtrooper stuff and all
Yeah.
the, you know, the
yeah,
slave
that's true.
culture perpetuation and all that. This is like
Yeah.
a walk in the park compared to that. So, yeah, I agree that it was probably much ado about nothing, and there were bigger things to worry about this weekend when it came to Star Wars, and I also don't have a problem with how he handled it.
Yeah, no, there was definitely much bigger things going on in the world of Star Wars. That's like what I was thinking too, where it was like, oh well, that's fine, but I'm still gonna like, it's not gonna be like, oh well, now I don't know if I'm gonna buy his toy. Like, I mean, I didn't buy Finn's toy because like I'm just not a big like, my collection just is more like about the dark side, so I tend to buy like stormtroopers and like things like that. But you know, it didn't really affect me in any way, shape, or form. But as far as like the pictures and things like that, and the marketing and how it's going, like I said, I think Disney's doing a really great job, and I don't think really put a dent in Star Wars whatsoever.
No, not
and
at
I
all.
think that like if they can do what they're doing for this movie, for the other movies, you know, I think like maybe once the Han Solo movie gets closer, if they stop all the pictures and things that are coming out now and just kind of go quiet about it, it'll make it better, because like you said, in the past we were so used to having that huge span of time between Star Wars movies, and there was that like kind of ubiquity that they had where you were kind of like, oh man, I don't know what it's, you know, like something may be coming, we don't know like what's gonna happen,
Right. Yeah.
and that was always really nice. And so like, because like we were getting them so close together, not having heard anything kind of makes up for it, where it's like, oh yeah, maybe it's not, you know, a huge amount of time, you know, in between them, but we're not hearing something every day about The Last Jedi, so it's making it feel more
that's true.
mysterious. So that's kind
I
of
think
like
at least
nice.
with the like trilogy, they should probably act similarly to that. I think with the Han Solo movie and whatever the next, you know, Star Wars story movie is, they might have to market it really hot and heavy just to get people on the fringe who might not be
Excited about
interested
it.
otherwise interested in it. Because
Yeah.
I don't know that many casual fans are really stoked about Han Solo. At least they're not going to get as many people off the street as they're going to get just naturally for an episode.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really have to advertise The Last Jedi, because people are going to go
Right,
see it.
everybody knows it. And,
They
and
have to.
I was going to say, the people who are pissed enough about John Boyega to boycott anything
Yeah.
have already boycotted because there's a black stormtrooper. So
Yeah.
I mean, and that was like 200 people.
And I really don't
So-
want them watching the movie anyway. So like, I don't
Exactly,
really
they
want
get
you a
out
part
of
of
my
my.
fandom.
Yeah, I
Don't
don't want
enjoy
you
the
in my
movie.
fandom anyway. So like, back out because like I did see and it's sorry if I'm lagging at all. I did see pictures like or like these group of people talking about how stormtroopers and the Empire is very much like Nazi Germany and this and that, and we're like likening
Right.
it to white supremacy, and I agree with you. Get out! Like, I don't want you in my fandom whatsoever. Like,
Right, this is a sci-fi fantasy
yeah.
world, and obviously there's some heavy themes, but and obviously, especially in Force Awakens, there is some
Yeah.
overt Nazi symbolism, but at the same time, it's a fantasy epic and never has pretended to be anything else.
exactly,
There's been some
yeah,
political storylines, but there's political storylines in everything.
in
So,
everything, yeah.
I think that those
And more
people, like you
than
said, they
anything,
can-
it's a
they can tell their story walking.
exactly, and more than anything, it's a family story. So, the political drama is really the background, and though it's
Right.
interesting, and I think people tend to because I was also just listening to this thing the other day on NPR about dystopias and why we tend to like books about and movies about dystopias more than we'll like movies about reality and like what's real, and it's because dystopias actually seem more feasible because our world's actually way crazier than we're all willing to admit. So it's like,
Right.
like if it seems to mirror what's going on, it might not be because it's on purpose. It might just be because the world is crazy, and
Right.
it's crazy enough where we can be like, hey, that's kind of like a Star Wars movie. But that's how ridiculous things are at this point in time. But just real quick, like I said, I haven't been diving too deep into the chat, but I always have to make sure we give Erica R a shout out when we can.
Absolutely.
She says, I still want the trailer. Maybe it will be during a Monday Night Football. If there is a Monday Night Football game, I don't know. I'm not a football fan.
Oh, there is. There's two of them, in fact.
There are two
Back to
this
back.
week, but it's it just
I
seems
think
so
the bigger
weird
game
to
will
me.
be Sunday night.
Right, that's the Cowboys game, the primetime game. So I don't know. I think whenever we get one, we get one. Like I said, and obviously.
Yeah, we've been
it's
so
just-
wrong that
it's
it's
weird
just
that
I
it's
don't
been
even
so
want
long.
to. Yeah, like you said, I just don't even want to
We've given
predict it
up on making
anymore. Like,
estimations.
yeah,
And
we've
honestly,
just
if
been
there
so
was gonna be
wrong.
one during this weekend's football games. Every time they do something like that, they're like world premiere trailer for the Avengers, halftime
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. So
Yeah,
everybody
so
watches.
people don't switch to
And-
channel.
That's true. We would
Right.
know if it was
and
coming.
we have had zero like that. So they're not going to drop it on TV secretly. They might drop it on the internet without much fanfare, but it won't be on TV like that.
Yeah, I agree. I could see them dropping it on the internet before they did it on television.
Right.
Like randomly, you know what I mean, without announcing it first. Because
Right.
you're right, they do tend to announce it first. So,
Well, especially for football, it's all about ratings, and
yeah.
they're not going to give up people who wouldn't otherwise watch it. Just like they're not going to, like Jared said, let people change the channel at halftime if they can help it.
That's very true. So, if they did, yeah, I don't know. If they did do it during football,
I'd
I
be
think we would have
amazed.
an announcement first. I think you're right about that.
Yeah,
So,
I would be totally flabbergasted if we got it during football, at least this week. And
yeah,
if they would
I don't
announce
think it's
it-
coming this week.
So, like I said, nothing would really surprise me at this point except that. That would be amazing to me.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Last Jedi, like I said, at this point, like we don't know what's gonna be happening with it. But I've been looking at pictures. Anything that doesn't give away the storyline, I'll tend to take a look at. I don't want to see anything that has to do with story though, and even some pictures
Yeah.
I'm not looking at. The good thing about Force Friday was that we got to see some new characters.
Right,
A
that's
little
what I was
bit
gonna say. We saw
better.
the Praetorian Guard way up close. We saw. We know there's a new class of stormtrooper whose sole function is to hunt down the traitor, FN2187. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, those two bits were really neat to me. I thought, especially
Yeah,
the Praetorian Guard, seeing
the
all the
executioner
weapons.
trooper is now one of my favorite troopers. He's the one that had like that little bit of black over
Yeah.
the half of its face. Yeah, that was the one you were just talking about. And his
They
weapon.
scour the galaxy for Finn.
Yeah, his weapon is literally like a like an electronic. What's that weapon called that executioners use to chop off people's heads? I
Scythe.
can't think. Yeah, like an electronic scythe, basically. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's designed to be able to withstand a lightsaber hit, and similarly to the Grievous Guard's purple glow stick things,
Yeah.
which are designed for lightsaber combat. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Obviously, it won't be force sensitive, but if they can take a hit from a saber, that's better than not being able to
Yeah.
in the
And
Star
then-
Wars universe.
That's also like, I mean, we talked about it before, so we won't get too deep into it. But like, you can already see just from the toys that are coming out, that this new version of the Empire is just so much more intense than the Empire
Yeah,
was.
it's
You know what I
extremely
mean?
efficient. I think that the old Empire was sort of propagandaed as being like this killing machine, efficient, well-oiled military just monster. And in practice, it was never like that down to a man, which is why the rebels kind of won. You know, they had the moral high ground, obviously, but they also they could just win in a one-on-one fight. Whereas this Empire is super sleek and ready to. I mean, they can murk anybody one-on-one, and I think that's why it's interesting that we haven't seen Luke actually suit up and get into combat, because a Jedi or a Force wielder might be the only chance against some of these, because they're not only trained, they're like bred and indoctrinated. So I think that some of the talent that they have is just not like anything we've seen at any point. Battle droids obviously didn't have it. Original trilogy stormtroopers didn't have it. This is a totally new breed of killing machine. I think it's really cool. And they have different classes that are designed for specific tasks. So it's going to be really neat.
Yeah, that's true. Like the idea that the Emperor had was just scale, basically.
Right. Just intimidation.
Yeah, like if we can make ourselves as giant as possible, nobody will dare. Fear was the idea.
Right.
Like if we can make ourselves as big as possible, then nobody will. So we'll just stormtroopers. Yeah, they were inefficient as soldiers because they were still using outdated armor, basically.
Right. But you have a phalanx of them, and all of a sudden you don't want to fight.
Exactly. But when all of a sudden there's literally 100,000 stormtroopers in your village, then it's like, all right, well, yeah, no, we're screwed. So that was the idea of the Empire, which was, to just overwhelm you with size. Now, the idea of the New Order and the First Order, I mean, is it seems to be, like you were saying, much more like we are elite.
We're
like
here to
elite.
kill people.
Yeah, we're not here to talk. We're not here to like occupy. We're gonna do what we said we came to do.
There's no posturing with them. They're there to knock heads. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see if they address it story-wise in the films, or if it's just left for the books and extended universe. Because in the original extended universe, the post Battle of Endor Empire was shredded. They were almost as mercenary heavy as the Rebel Alliance was.
Yeah.
In that they were really disorganized, and they had some fleets and ships and stuff, but they weren't there as a unified, organized force. They were using scrap ships and scrap guns and scrap armor. So it'll be interesting to see how, if they are this organized, which they are, and this well trained and this skilled, how could they possibly be like that post Rebel victory? Because I mean, my assumption is that the New Republic was probably not very receptive to the idea of a giant training facility. So I wonder how they might have gotten that across. And I'm sure we'll probably see that has a lot to do with people like Snoke. So I'm interested for that. And I'm also, we haven't talked about him really at all, but I'm interested to see more of Hux. because he's a really interesting character.
Yeah, I was actually just about
an
to bring him
interesting
up. It's so funny
compliment
that you
to
say
Kylo.
that. Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, like, Hux, General Hux is extremely interesting. His motivations are interesting. Like I said, if you read the Aftermath series, his father is very interesting. He was recruited by the Emperor specifically to start. So this whole idea of indoctrinating troops and starting them from children wasn't the idea of the First Order. This was Emperor Palpatine's idea. He started this. And he was the one who kicked it off, and he was the one who got Hux on board to do this. When the Empire fell, the new order, the new woman who was in charge of the Empire, she was the one who kept him on board and said, you know what, let's keep doing this. It's working. We have this, master plan. We need to go to the unknown regions, and we're going to do this. But during this time, she was... she saw how General Hux treated his son, which is who we know now, the Hux we see now, and he treated him like crap. So, seeing like how Hux was treated and Hugs, he needs hugs, dude, real bad. Seeing how he was treated,
like
she was,
Imperial.
yeah, right. She was like, all right, well, you're in charge now. You're in charge of like this specific, and he was only like 13, and she put him in charge of like his own battalion. And the first thing he did when he was in charge was literally like, you punch that guy in the face and then you spit in that guy's eye. And like that was like, this is Hux. He's just a terror, and that's like that's the army that he's trained, is an army that was basically given to a spoiled bastard kid who basically, it was like if Malfoy's dad
I was gonna say he's Malfoy.
didn't really like him. Yeah, it's like he's basically Malfoy, and he was given an entire army.
Well, his dad didn't
and that's
really
what
like
we're
him. His dad liked
his dad.
himself and wanted to see that reflected in his son.
Yeah.
He was never, in it for Draco. This is funny because we've talked to Harry Potter on Sunday, but no, I think that's right on the money. He's basically Draco with a little bit more power more quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see him as a character because he's such an interesting complement to Kylo Ren. Because Kylo Ren we saw is a pretty emotional dude when he's disappointed. And and it's weird because they argued pretty much head to head.
Yeah.
And if Kylo was a Sith, I don't know how you argue with a Sith without getting choked out. Like, we never saw Darth Vader take anything from anybody. Like,
the only one he would take stuff from is Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin. Exactly. And I don't know that Hux is the new Tarkin, but
they're different in style, but I think maybe their position that they play alongside like the main dark side user is kind of the same, but they definitely are different characters and have different motivations. Like Tarkin was just he believed in personal glory is the only thing worth fighting and trying to attain. Being the best at what you do is the only thing worth doing. So that's why he had to be, like, in his mind, the only thing that he could become was the right-hand man of the Emperor himself. And not to mention that he also was played an integral role in Chancellor Valorum's downfall, which was pretty interesting as well.
Star from Krennic, and
exactly.
I think that there's a lot of big power moves on his part, and we saw more of like a whiny version of both Vader and Tarkin in Kylo and Hux, respectively. And I'm really interested to see how that, not only Hux as a person continues developing, but how their dynamic goes.
Yeah, and I think they fit
they didn't seem to be best friends.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't like each other, and they don't seem to fit. They fit the setting they're in now. So like Tarkin and Vader were much more poised and controlled because that's the Empire. Like the Empire was a much more like this, like the New Order or the First Order. I keep calling it the New Order. The First Order is much more raw and much more much more raw and much more real. So they seem to reflect that they're much more raw and real characters.
It's a little bit more brash and like Jared said, emotional and passionate and
Yeah.
and fiery. I think that the First Order, like it does, it reflects them, but it's also in general just a more
Yeah.
it's a less mature but more dangerous situation.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the world we live in, where there's a lot of powerful people with not a lot of self-control, it feels like sometimes. And I
Yeah.
think that it can end dangerously for millions of people in Star
Yeah.
Wars, and that's a parallel to the world we live in. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work together, how Snoke maybe has them both by the ears and smacks their heads together maybe. I don't know if they're like
they do kind of seem like a sibling rivalry.
Right, that's what I was going to say. They're kind of like reluctant step siblings. And it'll be interesting. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with the Knights of Ren, or who Snoke is behind the scenes.
I mean, and I think it does have a lot to do with the fact that like a lot of the Imperial officers, like Wolf Yularen and those guys, they didn't really like Vader. Only because he was outside of the operation of like control, so like he didn't have like an official title, but they knew if they told them like you have to do this, and they didn't really like that because they didn't like. We have to remember like they didn't know that Vader was Anakin Skywalker. And so they're thinking like when they see Vader, they're like some of them literally thought he was just that he was just like some robot the Emperor bidding.
You're breaking up.
You're breaking
Alright.
up, my friend.
Crap, I'm sorry guys.
I agree with that. I think that people, and also they weren't huge believers in the Force. I mean, we saw Vader choke out some people that were pretty blasphemous about the Force in his presence. But we know that a lot of them didn't know the Emperor was a Force user. So Vader was really their only example of that, and a lot of them didn't see it in action. So a lot of them just sort of resented him, thinking he was either a robot or a normal person that just skipped all the work and gets all this power. And in reality, he could kill any one of them without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think Kylo has that sort of pull that Vader had, but
yeah, that's true.
And that's probably frustrating to him just as a person.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see both of them. Maybe Snoke has something to do with Hux's father. That could be a possibility that hasn't really been addressed yet. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I am interested to see because General Hux, I think his name was Brendel. Brendel Hux is his dad's name. He was reluctant to go into the unknown regions. Like he wasn't really like, and that's why Rey Sloane really like started to put her eggs in the Armitage Hux basket and was like, all right, maybe his son is gonna do a better job, because he really was like, I don't trust you. I don't trust what this new regime is gonna be about. I'm going because like there's money and you're gonna pay me and I don't want to be poor. Plus, if I stay here, the Rebel Alliance is just gonna kill me anyway. So I'm gonna come with you guys, but I don't really want to go. So that was kind of like what was, a pain in the butt. But either way, I think it's gonna be interesting because like you said, Kylo doesn't quite measure up to Darth Vader in some ways, and Hux doesn't quite measure up to Tarkin in some ways, but the First Order is definitely
both of them more dangerous.
Exactly. But the First Order, I was gonna say, the First Order definitely seems like a much more dangerous regime altogether. They seem much more, like you said, much more volatile. Like you don't like, the Emperor. Yeah, the Empire was predictable. Like if you joined the spice trade and started some smuggling routes and this and that, but kept it pretty tight and then paid your dues to the Empire, you were good. Like they wouldn't come. But the minute you started like
military strategy that you could rely on.
Exactly.
So now it's a totally unpredictable environment where they could nuke the world just because somebody tweeted at him.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that
Exactly.
their frustration is much more, much scarier than,
Yeah.
somebody with a little bit more reservation or just reserve in general. It's gonna be interesting.
It will. So just real quick, sorry guys. Like I said, I don't know if you guys didn't hear me at the towards the middle of the stream. We're almost done, so I'll just repeat it real quick before we just wrap up for the evening. I haven't kept the most keen eye on the comments because we had a lot to try to get through tonight, and I wanted to make sure we got to talk about it. We tend to really care about what you guys say, so we spend a lot of time on it, and I just wanted to make sure we could get through the topics we wanted to get through. However, we have 5 minutes left in our 1 hour stream, so if you guys have any questions for us, now is the time to go ahead and pop them out. Whatever questions you may have about anything we talked about tonight, about anything we might talk to. Death Trooper, I'm really sorry that you are in the way of Hurricane Irma. That really sucks, dude. But it's really cool that you have. Yeah, right, man. Get out of there, dude.
You said you can't evacuate.
Yeah, man, that really sucks, dude. That sounds really scary. I hope that you're okay, and I hope that everything goes all right for you. You're on YouTube right now, so at least you have some type of entertainment to keep you from, dealing with that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a plus, but I'm sorry to hear it, man, and I hope everything goes okay for you. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon. What kind of Force Friday stuff did everyone buy? Did you guys buy anything, or was I the only one who bought anything?
I bought a bunch of supplies for my trip, so I really wasn't there to spend money on Star Wars with myself. But
all right.
I did pick up The Lion King on Blu-ray now that they re-released it, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Nice.
But I got exactly 0 Star Wars things, which is sad. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And also, I know that we're wrapping up, but we have to mention that that episode 9 lost its director.
That's the last thing I wanted to talk about after we got sent some questions, if anybody had any.
Good. So go for it. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was one of them. Lightning Bolt. Can you please send me a friend request? So if you want to play with us, unfortunately, we don't typically do like guest people on our streamers and that kind of thing. However, I will send you a friend request before our 24-hour live stream, and then we can play with you then, because we're going to have people come in and play with us during our 24-hour live stream on October 5th at 9 a.m. it starts, and it's going to be 24 hours all day long. We're going to be giving away tons of prizes, and we're going to be announcing the winner of Star Wars Battlefront 2. So if you want to play with us, that's going to be the time to do it. So I'm sorry that we can't play with you tonight, but tonight's the talk show, so like I said, we have a lot of topics we try to get through in an hour. Yeah, it's usually just just 3 of us on, but we will shred with you sometime soon, man. And thanks for joining in.
Yeah, it would
really
be the
appreciate
casual stream where even if we're not actively playing with you, we have a much more active two-way conversation. So if you see us hop on a casual stream on like a Saturday or Sunday night, hop on and if we can play, we will. But if we can't, then at least pop into the stream and have a bit of a conversation. We were talking everything on Sunday: fantasy football, Star Wars in general, other fandoms. It's just a lot more. It's a lot less structured. This is kind of not reserved, but a little bit more intent.
Yeah. Lightning Bolt, I think this might be one of your first times around, so thank you, welcome, and this is like kind of structured like a podcast, so it kind of has that same feel to it, and then we play Star Wars in the background and have some fun getting into Battlefront, because it's a really great game, and we're really excited for Battlefront 2. So this is kind of getting us prepped for it, and we're having some fun playing it. But and as far as Erica R's question, I bought Thrawn, I bought a Stormtrooper, I bought a Clone Trooper, and I bought Hera Syndulla from Rebels. I'm excited.
That Thrawn looks cool.
Yeah, the Thrawn is awesome, man.
The coolest one.
The Thrawn was my favorite one out of all of them. Like that was definitely My favorite, and I put it on the top of my mantle too. So it's like now this centerpiece of everything. Because I have the autographed book from
Right.
Timothy Zahn,
Timothy
so I have
Zahn.
it perfectly like
Oh my
right
God.
next to the book. It's like, oh god,
The shrine.
it's the shrine. So awesome. Thank you for the sub. Super awesome. And yeah, so thanks guys for the questions. We really appreciate it. I'll give like one more second, not literally, but just one more minute to see if you guys have any other questions for us before we finish up with the last topic for tonight.
And during the week, add us, on Twitter or whatever, Facebook. We're big on Facebook without very many people following us, but that's where a lot of our content is, in addition to Instagram.
Yeah.
So ask us questions on one of those 3 platforms. We've discussed maybe at the beginning of the Wednesday episodes doing like a mailbag where we answer all your questions for 10 minutes before we actually get into it.
and
that
we
might
have
be a possibility.
Definitely. And we have much more of an active, conversation with you throughout the week if you do find us on Facebook and find us on
Jared and I can
Instagram and
attest
stuff
to
like that.
Just
You
be
know.
appropriate. If you're inappropriate, we'll kick you out of the
Please.
conversation.
No, like we
we're
are.
here to be respectful to women and
Yeah.
people, and
Racist.
it's right. It's a pretty open stream, and we want to have fun. And we're all, I like to think, pretty lighthearted people, but don't be a jerk, and we won't have to be.
Yeah. But I haven't put up the channel rules because I've just been assuming everyone, can be a decent person and we don't need to put up channel rules. But
Internet.
yeah, it is the internet. So no vulgar language, no racism, no sexism, no messed up stuff towards the LGBTQ community. Just be
95% of the
decent.
comments are good.
Yeah, all you guys are really
Most
great.
of you guys are pretty cool.
So we
And-
don't have to worry about it, I
and
think.
to your credit, when we've asked you to reel it in, at least in my experience, you've reeled it in. So thank you for taking it at least that seriously and not trolling us beyond the initial comment.
Yeah, 'cause we don't wanna have to kick
but just
anybody.
be aware
That sounds
that
like
if
a
you do
bummer.
comment that way, we will ask you to not do so.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be awkward, just don't.
Exactly. But yeah, last question that we got was, are you going to give away a $20 gift card if we can hit that 100 subs, man? So tell your friends, because if we hit 100
Tell your
subs, then I'll
friends.
give away something, man. I've been dying to give away something, but I gotta hit 100 subs, and then I'll give away stuff. But yeah, tell your friends, share on social media, let people know. I put our streaming schedule up on our channel art, so now you can find it right there. So if you need to figure out when we're going to be on, you will know. Because I at least know I'll be on during those times. But yeah, go to there to check out our schedule. Go to there. But yeah, so last thing.
Follow our Instagram. You're going to see us next week in Disneyland.
Yeah, man,
Fighting
I'm excited
Kylo
for
Ren
that.
with lightsabers.
I'm excited
wearing
for that.
Star Wars t-shirts, hugging each other. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be all inclusive. So
Adam-
definitely pay attention to our
Adam
Insta
and
Facebook
Jared
next week.
take on California.
Maybe
Is
we'll
going
do
to
little
be.
like shout outs on YouTube too. Just little hey, we're here. That might be fun.
Yeah, you guys
But
can
next
go. You
week
guys can
on
go
Tuesday,
live
we will be
on YouTube.
in Star Wars World or whatever you want to call it on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
be prepared to see my disgruntled wife in the background and my sister-in-law because neither one of them is excited to ride Splash Mountain like we are. But yeah, that's gonna be really fun. I'm excited. I've been living up to this vacation or leading up to this vacation for a long time, so I'm excited
That's
to
awesome.
finally get it.
I'm excited, dude. I can't wait to see pictures. They're gonna be hilarious. You guys gotta post a video on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely, we will for sure.
Yeah.
You guys
We'll
got
go
to.
live probably a couple times.
Yeah, man, you have to, because it's
We'll
gonna be
go to
hilarious.
The Star Tours
the
line,
shop after Star Tours. It's a pretty awesome shop.
hanging out with 3PO.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, before we get check out next week. Check out for pictures from Adam. He's gonna be posting stuff up on our Instagram. You can find us at talking_Sith on Instagram. So check that out because we're gonna have some really awesome little clips and pictures next week of these guys hanging out. I can imagine. Just please subscribe because it's gonna be really funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, they're not brothers. They're just freaking hysterical.
No,
None of
we're
us.
we're basically brothers. Though. I mean, I don't want to
Possibly
overstate
brothers.
our friendship, but but we may as well be brothers.
Yeah.
We're
None
two
of us
different
are
colors.
related. None of us are related. But we are all
Except
just
under the Force.
pretty decent. Yeah, through the Force, we're all related. But no, we're all just decent friends. I know Adam from high school, and he knows Jared from I don't know how, but they know each other. I think from work.
conserving
You
my
said.
life.
Yeah. But they're more than friends. They have a romantic relationship, which is fine.
He's my best man.
Yeah,
he
see, it
continues
doesn't
to
get
be.
any better than that. It doesn't get any better than best man status. But yeah, so real quick before we go, the director of episode 9 has Trevor. What was his
Conroe or
name?
Something.
I can't remember his name now.
It's some-
Gosh.
I mean, it's weird because it's similar to the Han Solo one in that both parties are citing mutual creative differences. This is
Yeah.
a little bit earlier in the process than the Han Solo one, but
Yeah.
it's still late because, I mean, Disney signed these directors years ago, so it's weird. I am not as discouraged by this
Colin
one as I was about the
Trevorrow
Han
is his
Solo.
name. Colin
There you
Trevorrow.
go.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Han Solo one came later and the directors were a little bit more well known to me.
Yeah.
So that one was a little bit more like, oh my god. Whereas this one is, I'm not that disappointed. He did Jurassic World, and I'm a pretty vocal non-fan of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So I don't mind losing him as opposed to. Ryan Johnson I would be concerned by. Obviously, that's not going to happen at this point. But if it had happened, I would have been like, that kind of sucks. Whereas this, they can probably upgrade. No offense to him. I hope that he has a great career. But I've seen a lot of fans suggest Spielberg, which I think is highly unlikely, especially
Yeah.
since Lucas isn't directly involved. But
Yeah.
Spielberg would be unbelievable. And
Yeah.
Cricken just killed me. And I think that he has a similar schedule for Indiana Jones. So we might not see Spielberg, but I don't think you have to go with somebody like Colin Trevorrow. So I'm interested to see who they might get. I'm interested to see if anything comes out about the circumstances, which did not happen with the Han Solo stuff. But either way, it's big news. I think that it's,
Better that it
it's
happened
about as late
this
as it could be. Right, that's what I was going to say. This is about the deadline for it to happen and
Yeah.
not have it be big, big, big news. So
Yeah.
episode 9 is obviously in pre-prod, and we'll probably begin shooting, I think, early next year. Yeah, this is about as late as it can happen without it being bad. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit hyped, honestly. I hope that it has not much to do with like Carrie Fisher's legacy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are speculating that maybe one of them wanted to be more respectful than the other.
Yeah.
And that led to this. But both of them seem to be treating it as mutual, and until we hear otherwise, you kind of have to take their word for it. So
Yeah.
It's crazy that it
uh,
happened again. It happened again.
it's
like,
everyone's like, what's going on at Disney and Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
And people don't have much awareness that Disney doesn't do much with Star Wars other than make sure that nothing gets leaked and make sure that everything that comes out in terms of promotional materials comes out when they want it to. So
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that they don't have much involvement in the actual day-to-day like shooting of the films.
Yeah.
So that's all Lucasfilm and ILM and Skywalker Sound and everything. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not scared of this one. I was much more nervous about the Han Solo movie development at the time it occurred than I am about this one now. I'm actually, like I said, I don't want to say stoked, but definitely it's no skin off my back if he's not involved in it.
Yeah,
I did
that's
not like Jurassic
true.
World.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan. My wife really loved Jurassic World. She was really into it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I like the
It's
older
okay
ones
as
better.
its own thing. Like, it's fine as like a summer whatever, but it's legitimately not very good. Like, it's got a lot of issues that I'm sure we'll talk about on a casual stream. But in general, like you said, it wasn't the original. And not only was it not the original, because you kind of can't be, but it almost was totally the opposite of the original in terms of intent and meaning. The original had a lot to do with chaos theory and all these other things that this one just was watch people get eaten. So it was
Yeah.
just not good. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
I thought the
But,
name of the dinosaur was terrible.
Yeah, everything about it was just not my favorite. But
It's just
I am
bad.
excited to see him. I mean, obviously, he just works with a script and a producer and puts a spin on it. So I'm not blaming him for what I thought of Jurassic World necessarily.
Yeah.
Nor would I think that Star Wars will be any better without him necessarily. I don't know that we can't get somebody just as good or better.
Yeah, and like you said, I think because they've done so much hiring so far in advance, as things shift and change, that's gonna change who
Everything's
they
new.
bring on.
Yeah.
You know, to help create Star Wars. So if, you know, the idea of The Last Jedi could have gone completely differently than they originally had set out for it to
Right.
look, and so now they need to shift how they're going to do it, and that might not be what the
Especially Carrie
director wants
Fisher.
anymore.
That changed everything, I
That
think.
did
I
change
think
everything.
that's probably a huge factor in it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know that
Because
it's
she
to
wasn't
everyone's
supposed to be. She
speculation.
wasn't supposed to be gone until.
No, she was supposed to
the
be
ninth.
the big part of 9.
Yeah.
So I think that.
And now we
I
know
think
she's
that-
going to be written out in the 8th.
Exactly. So I don't know that there's much to go by in terms of one party maybe respecting her more than the other party was comfortable with, or less than the other party was comfortable
Yeah.
with. I'm not gonna say that's true or not, because it seems like fanboys with not much to talk about arguing about nothing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is at the very least an interesting development.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth watching. Like you said, it's worth keeping an eye out. It's definitely worth keeping an eye out, you know, to see how that movie's gonna pan out. I kind of would like to keep it like it has been with The Last Jedi and not know too much, but it is interesting.
Right.
And
It's bigger
it is
news
something.
because it's an episodic movie too, not a
Yeah.
Star Wars story.
Exactly.
I don't want to call the Star Wars stories like throwaway or insignificant, but comparatively, they're definitely not the bread and butter of the franchise, which
Yeah.
the actual saga movies certainly are. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I hope that they announce somebody else soon. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have a backup plan if it was in fact mutual.
Yeah.
That they were comfortable announcing already, but yeah, we'll see who it is, and hopefully, I mean, I don't think it would be Spielberg, but that would be awesome. He's such good friends with Lucas, I don't think he would do it.
Yeah, that's true. And they've always had that kind of like rivalry
I don't know how
between.
it's going. Yeah, they've been
between
like
each other.
peers and contemporaries, but they're also like best friends. So
Yeah.
the fact that Spielberg contributed so much to us already, and Lucas for Indiana Jones, I think to me means that Spielberg wouldn't dare. It's like someone else's kid; he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other directors are making a name for themselves with it. J.J. Abrams maybe a little bit less so because he had Star Trek, but Ryan Johnson certainly, his biggest credit is Looper. So I
Yeah.
think this is bigger for him than it would be for Spielberg, and they probably want someone similar to that.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I mean, we'll see where, like I said, we'll see where it leads. I think like you said, it has something a lot to do with Carrie Fisher exiting the movie. Because we're gonna have to it's gonna have to be rewritten, and so I think things are gonna change for the movie because Carrie Fisher was supposed to be the main heavyweight
She was
basically
it.
for
She
that
was the
movie.
huge
Yeah,
story on that
she
tonight.
was
They
gonna
hadn't
be.
said
Yeah, I feel like that really kind of told us a lot. With, you know, I felt like this last one was Han, this one was Luke, the next one was Leia. And I felt like each one was going to get their due, like their goodbye. And apparently, I feel like we're going to have to say goodbye to Luke and Leia in this next episode.
Yeah, I think that's at least the sentence. Even if it's not true, people just feel this like foreboding feeling about Luke in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like
And,
we're going to lose Luke. If not 100%, at least we're going to think we lost him. We're going to
Right.
be like, oh man, he may be dead. And then maybe he'll come back in 9. Maybe he really did die. I don't know. I think we are close to Luke finishing up his storyline though, which sucks. But I think a quote that he just gave as well, Mark Hamill, really kind of puts it next to that too, where he said this movie is really about the new generation. It's not really Luke's story anymore. It's much more about their story and what's going on with them. So like it's the focus is all on Luke, yet Mark Hamill's like, the focus isn't going to be on me. So it's like, well,
right, and that might just be Mark Hamill being Mark Hamill, but I think there's, like you say, there's some truth to it. I think from each of the new movies, you can expect like a throwback and some respect for the original trilogy, while honing the new characters as well. And like you said, each one has a theme. The first one was Han, the second one's Luke, and the third one's probably supposed to have been Leia. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But like I said, I'm not upset that the director has changed, especially at this point in the game.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it either. Not at all. And like you said, because it's not too late, there's still plenty of time. Plus, at this point, I'm more excited just for the prospect of the fact that we are now 99 days away from The Last Jedi. I mean, that's really awesome. We're less than 100 days away now. Not only that, but
soon.
Yeah, that means tickets very soon. Tickets very, very soon. We're also very, very close to
beta.
The beta, yeah, we're very close to the beta. Less than a month away from the beta. Actually, I think today's the 6th, so yeah, less than a month away from the beta. So remember to check us out for our live stream on October 5th. The beta comes out on the 4th, but I want to make sure that any problems that it's going to have, they just have them, and we can jump on the 5th where we know it's going to be a little bit more stable. And it is the beta, so you'll have to bear with us if it is going up and down as far as, connectivity goes and things like that, because it is EA, and they haven't been known to always drop the most stable games. So we'll have to make sure we just keep that factor in mind. I'm hoping that the fact that DICE is involved. And plus, I'm also hoping that because the beta for Star Wars Battlefront, this one that we're playing went so well that this one will go well too. Because the last one went really, really well, and like tons of people played it. I think they dropped the numbers. They dropped like that infographic like the day after the beta ended, and like something like over 1 million people played it. Like, it was ridiculous numbers. So I'm excited because I think a lot of people are going to be joining in that one to play, and I hope we can play with some of you guys out there.
I mean,
that'll be really
exciting because it's been a while since I played a game where like everyone's going to be playing it. Like, everyone you talk to is playing it.
Yeah.
And I think Battlefront 2 has the possibility of being that again.
Yeah. For sure, and like we've talked about before, like the only other shooters. Yeah, I was gonna say the only other shooters coming out are Destiny and Call of Duty, the World War II one. So, I mean, it has competition, but people are going to be playing this game. So, it's not like we're going to be alone, and it's going to be like we kind of are now, where every single person that passed you has some sort of Star Wars centric name, and it's basically just people left playing. It's not going to be like that anymore. So, Wednesday, it's live stream show podcast where we talk about different Star Wars topics and what's going on in the Star Wars universe. Like I said, I put up our schedule on our channel for when we're going to be streaming and all that good stuff. So now every Wednesday we stream, like I said, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can find us starting in November when the actual game drops. We will be doing a Thursday live stream called Let's Play Star Wars Battlefront 2 Story Mode. So that's kind of self-explanatory on what we'll be doing. But yeah, that's going to be our Thursday live stream. And then Friday, Saturday, one of us, whether it be me or one of the guys or someone, because we've been pretty good about it lately, someone being available to do it. Friday and Saturday, around 9 p.m. Eastern time, we will have a live stream then, just a chill stream. Those are the nights where you guys can just come talk to us about, like we said, different fandoms, all different types of stuff. they said I was listening in the other day, and they were talking about Harry Potter and football, and like we said, different Star Wars characters, who the highest Star Wars characters were, men and women. So that was pretty interesting to hear.
Men.
Just men, yeah, mostly men. They got way more into the men than they did the women, actually, so that was pretty interesting.
It's a touchy subject, so.
And it was pretty awesome. So yeah, we'll talk about crazy stuff, and that's when we do random giveaways and stuff like that. We don't always have them planned out, but that's why it's good to stop in and just check it out, because you can talk to us about anything, and we may be giving stuff away. Thank you for all the new subs tonight. I think last time I checked we were about 80, so I'll check when we are done and see where we are at, but we were getting really close to 100. Once we hit 100, I'll be giving away either a new toy or a $20 card. Probably a $20 card. I know that's probably what you guys want more than anything. So I'll be giving you a new card. But yeah, so like I said, you can find our streaming schedule on our channel. I am your host, Chaz, and I am joined every week by Adam and Jared.
Not next week.
Not next week. Next week, Adam and Jared will both be up to no good, so I will be, hopefully, I will have, one of our friends, Will be on the stream with me, hopefully. I can have him come on and he can sub in. If not, then we'll figure something out. Maybe I'll have you guys, maybe that'll be just a day of questions where we can sit and just talk about whatever. Maybe I'll just go over some quick topics, and we'll just sit and chat. It's never how you're doing, it's always what you're doing. But yeah, we'll figure something out, but we'll do something together, guys, and I'll be streaming either way on Wednesday. And like I said, check out our Instagram throughout the week to see pictures of Adam and Jared getting into trouble and causing some nonsense out in California. That should be fun to watch. I'm excited for it myself. So, but
Hopefully
yeah, guys.
We don't burn alive.
Yeah, let's hope not. Let's hope they don't burn down any cool tourist attractions. But definitely join us next week, and join us whenever you see that notification go off. And make sure if you sub, you make sure you turn on notifications, so that way if we're doing something, it'll alert you. That way you don't have to miss out, and you can check us out in real time. But we will be with you, I think Friday. I'll be streaming, so I won't see you guys tomorrow night, but we will see you Friday night. I will be on streaming, and we can talk more then. But thanks for joining, guys. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Later.
Peace out.